Well, there's nothing that quite makes us feel like spring is really here and summer's not far away than planting tomatoes out in our garden. And even though we've had several days already that make us feel like it's time to put our tomatoes out, you really should hold off on that. However, if you're just itching to start working with your tomatoes, you can start your own transplants inside right now and get that tomato fix without putting them outside. Now, starting your own transplants is very easy to do, and it doesn't take a lot of space. You basically need a tray and some seed starting mix and some plastic, and that's basically all you'll need except for your tomato seeds. Now, when I mention the mix, this is different than a potting media mix. This is a seed starting mix, and it is a little bit smaller than the other. And the reason for this is when you cover your seeds with this mix, they won't run into a clod or anything like that and use all their energy trying to push that out of the way. They can come up through this very easily. Now, you want to fill your container about 3/4 of the way full and go ahead and wet that down. I've already put water in here. And you want to make sure you choose a container that has a lot of good drainage in the bottom. Next, you just get your seeds out, and you can either make a furrow in your planting mix if you're going to do several different seeds in one pot, or you can do like I did in this tray and just broadcast the seeds lightly over the top. Now on this one I'm going to do different varieties, so I've made a furrow here, and then I just want to go ahead and get my seeds out and then plant those along in my furrow. Now, you don't necessarily have to worry about spacing. That's the nice thing about germinating them and then potting them up a little bit later, because you can just basically fill them in your furrow here. And then what you want to do is cover them with a little bit of our potting media. Now, you basically don't want to plant seeds any deeper than twice their size. And since tomato seeds are fairly small, we're not going to be planting these very deep. Now, once I've got those planted, I want to just lightly water those in again, and then what you want to do is cover those with a piece of plastic. And what that'll do is keep those seeds from drying out. You can just attach that on the side. It's a little hard out here in the wind, but if you're starting these inside the house, you won't have that problem. And then you want to set your seeds someplace warm. Now, a lot of people like to set theirs like on the top of their refrigerator, because tomato seeds actually germinate best at a 70 to 75 degree temperature. And so on top of the refrigerator is a nice warm place. The thing that you will want to do is check those seeds every day, because as soon as those come up, you want to take that plastic off and move those to a sunny spot. You don't want those seeds to come up and start stretching for light when there's none there. So be sure to check those every day. Now, we started these seeds about a week ago, and basically it takes 5 to 7 days for them to germinate and come up. And the next thing that you'll want to do is transplant those into another container. Now, these tomatoes that we planted a week ago aren't quite ready. And the way that you know that a seed is ready to transplant is you look here and you look for the first 2 true leaves. Now, if you'll notice on these seeds, we've got 2 things here that look like leaves, but those aren't leaves. Those are actually the 2 cotyledons. So the next set of leaves that come up, those will be our 2 true leaves. Now, we don't have any tomatoes right now that are ready to transplant. However, we have some salvia here that are ready to go for us. And you can do this with a lot of different seeds, not just tomatoes. You can start many of them. Now, here I've got salvia, and you'll notice I've got the 2 cotyledons here, and then these are my true leaves. So these are ready to transplant. Now, I'm going to take a 4-pack. You can take a small pot, anything smaller, fill that with potting media. Take a pencil and poke a hole down to the bottom here. And then what I'm going to do is take the end of my spoon and kind of get a clump of these to work with here. Now, when you're actually transplanting the seeds, you're going to want to grab them by their leaves. Now, the reason that you do this, you don't want to handle them by their stem because that stem is very delicate. If you break a leaf off, it's going to grow another leaf. However, if you break the stem, you've lost the plant. So we just gently, trying not to lose too many roots, tease that plant out. And then we'll just lower it into the hole gently. Kind of tuck those roots down in there. And you can actually plant them deeper on the stem than they were growing. This is especially true of tomatoes. You can plant them fairly high on the stem and just firm that in around there, and then you'll gently water that and set those in a sunny area. Basically, by the time it is ready to plant your tomatoes or flowers out, you'll have some nice transplants to go out. Well, if you are a tomato lover, you'll be glad to know that the National Gardening Bureau has declared 1998 as the year of the tomato.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.